It is so good to be here tonight. I'm so thankful to be able to share my heart, what the Lord's put on my heart, and the things that He has taught me. And I'm going to be teaching, but I'm also going to be giving some testimonies of things that I have seen this stuff do. And to me, I was just thinking about it earlier. We use anointing oil as a tool. And all of these things were created for a purpose as a tool, just like the anointing oil, but we use it, well, sometimes externally, sometimes internally, but it's still a tool He gave us to heal, just like the anointing oil. And He kind of gave me a revelation about the anointing oil, because oil in itself is a conductor. And if you put electricity to it, it amplifies it. So the anointing oil amplifies as a tool to make the connection. So these are also tools that amplifies if we make the connection. God has always put it on my heart to keep my herb list small. Now, I do use herbs that I will buy, but for the most part, He has impressed upon me to learn what's around me, to be able to forage, to be able to grow, and things that I can grow successfully in my area, because someday I might not be able to click on Amazon and get it there in 2 days. Someday I might need that. So if I know my surroundings and how to use it, then that's going to benefit me later down the road if I can't get them. The next thing that the Lord has taught me is, you know how they say local honey, local to you, is better for you? The herbs are the same way. And if you will take note, your land will produce what you need or what you're going to need in the next season. For instance, there was a year that there was wild lettuce, an enormous amount of wild lettuce on my property in 2021. That's used for pain. And I kept thinking, pain? I don't know why I would need that. But that December, I lost my dad. So, yeah, it was for pain, but I didn't harvest any of it because I don't use that. I know what it's for, and I can use it if I need to, but I don't generally do that. But that was I saw pain coming. I just didn't know what kind of pain was coming. Have you seen videos on speaking to plants? Some are speak. Can you hear me now? I think we're good now. Okay. Have you seen where they've done studies where they put plants in one spot and they speak to them angrily, and then they talk to one lovingly and that kind of thing? And the ones that are spoken to with love grow better than the ones that are spoken to angrily. So, and then I thought, if I order these herbs online and they're just thrown in a greenhouse or thrown in a field and they're harvested, and they're not had any human contact whatsoever, how much more powerful? It's not woo-woo, it's just that I have cared for the plants that I have grown with my hands and cared for them, and then later on they're going to return the favor and they're going to take care of me. And I'm thankful for them. I think when I'm out tending to my herbs, and it's already heating up. When I'm tending to my herbs, I thank God for them. I thank the plant. Thank you for doing what God created you to do. Thank you for surviving. Thank you for thriving for my benefit to do what God created you to do. If I do order plants, I have ordered them on Amazon. If you need a lot, Bulk Apothecary is a good source, and Mountain Rose Herbs is a good. But I always make sure that I get it. Make sure that there's been no pesticides sprayed on it. No, I'd rather there not be any fertilizers on it. Anything. Those are good, and they have worked fine. But I have found that mine work best for me. Finding an herb or a combination of other herbs for you takes a little bit of time, because there are many medications for high blood pressure, but you've got to find that medication that works for you. So herbs are the same way. There are a lot of herbs that we're going to go over that are good for allergies, but like my daughter-in-law, she has really good luck with goldenrod, but it doesn't work as well for me. Some of the other things work better for me. So if you get an herb and you're trying something for an ailment and it doesn't work, then it might not just be that herb didn't work for you, not that they don't work. I'm going to get deep already. Anytime the doctor tells you, oh, it's viral, you've got a parasite. In 1972, the Encyclopedia Americana stated that they had discovered that a virus was an intracellular parasite. If you Google the definition of a virus, it will tell you it is a microorganism that cannot live without a host. By definition, that is a parasite. So, when my son was in the hospital a month ago or so, and he had myocarditis, and I was like, what in the world is that? And they said it's a virus in his heart. And I was like, well, what are you giving it for? Are you giving him antivirals? And they said, no, we just kind of let it there. We haven't found anything that works. And my son said, what about herbal stuff? And I was like, I have it in the car. Can we use something? And she said, well, like, what would that be? And I was like, oregano. Just oregano. She said, I don't see what it would hurt. And I went to the car, and I got him on oregano, which is antiviral, and I also started him on black walnut hull, which is anti-parasitic. Which oregano, if you raise chickens, a lot of people will give their chickens oregano because it's an anti-parasitic. It will kill the parasites in the chickens. So a lot of people do that, and it keeps them healthy. It keeps them on a little antibiotic instead of giving their chickens antibiotics and kind of pre-treating. They will give them oregano. I like to forage in unsprayed areas. I like to forage close to home. I used to get irritated and think, why don't they clean their place up? Because they never mow their fence rows. They never spray. Now I love those farmers. The messier, the better. The more unkept, the better, because that's where I get my good stuff. And you'll find me on the side of the road with my little nippers and sometimes my pocket knife, and I'm collecting things. I take them home and I'll always wash them, always rinse them. I do have an air dry dehydrator, and I have used it. I do use it some, but I prefer letting it air dry naturally in the air. I feel like if it is a slower process and it maintains more medicinal properties. That's just something that I have observed. You chop it real small, and after, some, we'll get into that later. Some you want to chop before, and some you want to chop after, depending on what you do. And a whole lot of what I do is just being led by Spirit. If a plant will literally, I'll be driving down the road and watching these unsprayed areas, and something will pop out to me, and it's just like that plant is supposed to come home with me. And I stop and I thank God for putting it there for me. And I'll bring it home. Plants will also stand out to me to research. I'll be observing something and I'll know what it is. It'll come to me what it is. I'll find out what it is, and then I'll think, wonder if that's medicinal. Honeysuckle being one of those. Honeysuckle is medicinal. I didn't know that. I was just driving along, saw the honeysuckle on my road, and they don't spray on my road. And I stopped, and I was like, when I got home, I was like, wonder if that works. Well, it does. It does. Now, on page 1, the sum of our health, I think that'll be not the first page, but the second page for y'all. The sum of our health, our emotions are as important as anything else we do. Disease, dis-ease. You are not at ease. Your mind is not at ease. Your body's not at ease. Your spirit is not at ease. We need all of the things to come into alignment for us to be truly healthy. You have seen marathon runners that are healthy as horses and drop dead of heart attacks. They did the physical, they didn't do the spiritual. Does that make sense? That is, to me, is the reason why we have to look at our whole body, our whole mind, our whole spirit, and get everything into alignment. Toxins. This is a big thing when we're eating. We live in such a fast-paced society. Processed foods, chemicals we put on our body, what we bathe in, what we wash our clothes in, everything that we come into contact nowadays clogs up what I call our gutter system. Our blood, our lymphatics, our liver, our kidneys. It clogs up your thyroid gland. That's the reason why that thyroid disease is skyrocketing now, and has been for years. All those build up in our system, heavy metals, all the things. And we've got to stay on top of, especially in the world we live in, keeping that gutter system clean. Because when that gutter system starts getting backed up, and then it starts affecting other organs, or it can just affect the lymph nodes, or it can just affect the liver, and then we start having a snowball effect of problems. And like I told a lady earlier, anything that presents itself on the skin has the root in your liver. So if you've got a rash, a recurring rash, chronic rash, or anything like that is on your skin, you need to check your liver and your gutter system and get it clean. Once you get those cleaned and that organ fed with the proper nutrients, then the rest of the things will start to fade away. Then you'll know that those things are going to start fading away. Now we're going to go over we'll flip to the next thing. We're going to go over some some herbs that I use. I didn't bring everything. I didn't print out every single thing that I make because some are blends. So I wanted you to know the individual ones. And some things that you need to, I did bring some things that you need to know that I don't make for the public. I only make for my family. The first one's goldenrod. First thing, if you have a latex allergy, this is not your herb. If you're allergic to latex, you're allergic to goldenrod. This is, like I said, my daughter-in-law's go-to for seasonal allergies. Calms internal inflammation. That's what all the sinus is inflammation. So if it'll get rid of inflammation in other places, it's an anti-inflammatory. So along with your sinuses, it can also help like swollen joints, your kidneys, your all yeast infections. It's good for candida overgrowth, and most of us have candida because of this world we live in. We are processed foods, the enriched breads, the everything we come in contact with. If you turn the page, we're going to go to rosemary. Absolutely. It's not really goldenrod. They grow together, and one is the culprit. Yes, one is the culprit. Goldenrod is the thing that cures it, and you'll find that a lot in nature, like the stuff that breaks you out. The thing that cures it is next to it. Poison oak. Then there's a thing that grows right next to it that cures the poison oak. So it's not the goldenrod. It's something else, and I can't think of it. It does not. But goldenrod gets the blame for it. But it's not the most people are not allergic to goldenrod unless you have a latex allergy. Okay, rosemary is one of my favorite herbs. I don't use it a lot in cooking, but it is one of my favorite herbs to work with. When COVID first started, I started putting together a natural spray that I could mist, because I don't like using Lysol spray because it's too many chemicals. You breathe them, they're not good. They kill good stuff and bad stuff. So if you make one with essential oils and you put it in water or vodka, then so that way it doesn't go rancid, because it's never going to go bad if you put vodka in it, and you spray your surfaces and the air and everything. And I was putting these together, and the Lord kept impressing upon me to put rosemary in it. And I was like, I don't understand why rosemary. I don't know enough about it. And finally I was like, okay, Lord, let me read on it. One of the first things that I read about rosemary is that it will weaken the cell wall of antibiotic-resistant germs so the antibiotic can get in there and kill it. So I was like, nobody's supposed to be able to kill this COVID thing. That's perfect. Okay, Lord, I trust you. I'm putting it in there. So I had rosemary, I had clove, and I had peppermint, and I had oregano. Oregano's and anti-everything. So I had the rosemary in there. And ever since then, I love my rosemary. It's antifungal, it's antibacterial, it's anti-cancer, anti-rheumatic, it's an astringent, analgesic, and anti-inflammatory. It opens up blood flow and brings oxygen to the brain. So when we take things that can bypass that blood-brain barrier, rosemary can help. Even sniffing rosemary can improve your cognitive function. It can improve your memory. And maybe that's the reason why I like it. But this is also good for autoimmune diseases, like lupus and rheumatoid arthritis. So if you have this rash, that would be cleaning the gutter system, feeding it rosemary would be on top of my list of things to do. Oh, and rosemary also repels lice. So when your kids, if you get a good rosemary essential oil, when your kids are going to school, all you have to do is put a dropper full or so in your kids' current shampoo or conditioner. They get that smell, and lice doesn't like it, and there you'll have less problems with it from being at school. Now it's another one of my favorites, and these are on the table. I have some oregano. There's some smaller jars with oregano and rosemary. I bought I bought oregano, and I didn't even use it because I was so used to mine. And if you can grab that on the table and smell my oregano, it is so pungent. If you put it in your kitchen like I do, you have to adjust the amount of oregano that it calls for because mine is so strong. What you buy in the store, you can hardly smell. I think it's because of the harsh drying conditions. And it's just herded through. There's no care. There's no thought. It's just rushed. And I think the harsh drying conditions has probably got a lot because mine retains its dark green color, and what you buy in the store is like a brown. So my slow drying process retains that nice color, and I think it retains the flavor. Oregano is called king of the herbs for a good reason. If you have one herb that you're going to grow at your house to do everything, oregano is your friend. It will, and there's two kinds. There's one that grows flat on the ground and the one that grows up. Get the one that grows up. It's a little taller. Because I've got the one that grows on the ground and it's too hard. It grows so tight to the ground, it's hard to harvest. I like what grows up. That way I can take a handful, and as I'm saying my prayer, I can take my kitchen knife and I can just whack it right off, and it'll be back in 2 weeks. It's full of vitamin C and A. It's antifungal, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antibacterial, antiviral. So it's a natural antibiotic, and it's a natural antiviral. So it doesn't matter if you don't know what it is, take oregano. It doesn't matter. It'll kill bacteria. It'll kill a virus. It'll kill fungus. It kills everything. Yes, that's one of my go-to things too. It's best if you take it the first sign of illness. So if you come home and you're feeling, I just don't feel right, I think I feel something coming on, start hitting it hard. Just hitting that oregano hard. Loosens chest congestion, helps with asthma. It relieves inflammation in your airways. It even has anti-cancer properties. Topically, we use it for cold sores. I got another testimony. I have a client that has had so many precancer cells removed from her body that she recognizes them when they're starting to pop up. And she has started getting my oregano salve, and as soon as she sees them, she starts putting that on there. And she said in about a month, it'll just flake right off. And she hasn't had to have anything cut off in a long time. So she continually keeps it, and she even puts it on her dog. I have some friends that own a greenhouse, and I buy all my plants from him. And he got bit by a brown recluse. And you know what? Most times they have to go in there and cut the down past to get to good flesh. Well, he's allergic. His wife is not allergic. So it kind of, and he's very allergic to it too. So she messaged me and she said, what's your first line of defense? What do I need to do? And I said, you need to keep oregano salve on it to draw out the toxins and kill the on contact, and take it internally. And I told her a pretty heavy dose. It healed. You can't even tell where it's been. They did not ever have to go to the doctor. They fixed it themselves just with oregano, salve, and tincture, which is good because they want to stay out of it. So we're pretty good friends. Okay. You can take too much, but the pills are different than the tinctures. I recommend 1 dropper full. That's on every label. A dropper full 2 to 3 times a day. But at first, if I really know something's coming on, I'm going to pump that up to 2 droppers full 3 times a day for the first few days until I feel myself coming out of it. Then I'm going to back down to a dropper full twice a day. Yeah, so much better than the pills. I love echinacea. It works really well for me. But if I take it in pill form, in 3 days, my stomach is killing me. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes. So I just got to confirm it. That's good. I love it when he does that. Yes. Black walnut, whole, and clove. When we get through all these individually, I'm going to put together a system to do, a protocol to do with all of these. Black walnut, whole, and clove. This is not something that you want to do for a long haul. You're not going to want to take this every day for months and months. You're going to want to do a big spurt, and you're going to want to leave it alone. It's an anti-parasitic. It has lots of good qualities for otherwise pain, swelling, drying up mucus, antibacterial, analgesic. It's got essential fatty acids in it. It is even good for ringworm. I know this is a tincture, but if I had a ringworm, I'd put that tincture on my ringworm. And I would take it internally. Kill it from the inside and the outside. But I don't make black walnut salve. It would probably stink really bad. Oh, side note, this is the most bitter thing that I make by far. It is green, and I could tell the first couple of days when I shook the jar of the hulls, I was like, ooh, this is going to be bad. And it did not disappoint. It says it may improve your mental clarity and energize. If it kills parasites, it may improve your mental clarity and your energy. When we had the flu, we had flu A. I didn't even have to go get tested because everybody at the shop had it. I knew that's what it was. So we went home and everybody said, you need to go get Tamiflu. You need to go get this. You need to go get that. I was like, I got Tamiflu at home. So I started taking my oregano. I started taking white pine needle. I started taking echinacea. I think we were on 3. No, I didn't. We were on mullein because that's for lungs, prevent it from going into our lungs. But about the 3rd day, I am not one to sit around. So I got anxious and I was tired of laying around not feeling good. I wanted to be out back up on my feet. I had things to do. And then I was like, so I was Googling it, and it said that the flu was, in fact, a virus. we started taking black walnut hull. After the second dose, Wade come out of the bedroom and said, I feel better. 2 doses. And I was the same way. My neighbor down the road, they had it go through their whole family, and they are also along the same lines as natural remedies too. And she said, we're better, but we just can't get rid of the cough. And I said, I'm going to tell you what I did. And I told her about this, and they do antiparasitics twice a year, faithfully. So she said, I still have some from our last cleanse. And she saw me the next day. She said, I want you to know I gave that to them one time, and that cough is gone. Gone. Quit coughing after 1 dose. And it wasn't the black walnut hull and cloves. They used something different, but I don't know what that is. But it worked. Then I almost didn't. Yeah, we almost didn't get it at all, and we didn't get it as bad as some other people got it, because as soon as everybody started, I started on the protocol, and the next one is echinacea, which is what I started, because the biggest thing that I see that comes to mind, the first thing that comes to mind with echinacea is that it helps you produce more white blood cells. So it helps your body defend itself. So if I know, like for last year, we were going to go on our 25th anniversary vacation, and everybody that I had talked to, when they came back from vacation, they were sick. They either had COVID or they had some kind of upper respiratory something. And I was like, I'm going to beat y'all at this. So 2 weeks before we went on vacation, I put us on oregano twice a day and a pretty hefty dose to build us up before we ever left. We did not get sick when we come back home. Praise the Lord. I have leaned too much on the echinacea, and this is my next kind of little warning or note. This is what I have learned. I have leaned too much on echinacea because it has worked so well. That was all I had ever used. And I think my body kind of got used to it. So I realized, hey, what's going on? This is not working anymore. And then I put that down. I picked something else up, and it started working. And I was like, it's not that the echinacea didn't work, because it always has. It's that I have overused it. So, because if you looked at me sideways, I'm going to take echinacea. Well, I had used it a little too much and gotten a resistance to it. Alrighty. The next one is mullein, and there are mullein leaves on the table. And we were just talking about it. If you know, what is lamb's ear? They kind of favor lamb's ear, only lamb's ear is more of a silver white color, but they are fuzzy like that. And it is, lamb's ear kind of grows kind of leggy. This grows in kind of like, when they first come up, it grows in a rosette. And then it's on a stalk that grows straight up. If you drive down the road and you see a long stalk with a bunch of yellow flowers on it, right now, they're blooming. That is mullein. So I went this morning and gathered that, and when I get back home, all of that's going into a half-gallon jug, because I need that. I need a gallon of it, but this will get me started. Mullein, if you've got anything chest-related, this is my go-to. If you've got, they used this on the battlefields a long time ago, like in the Civil War. This, because it's got antibacterial effects to it too, they use this for battle wounds. They would wrap up a wound in mullein because it would help it keep it from getting infected, antiseptic, astringent, all kinds of things. It does have anti-parasitic properties, and it's good for intestinal issues. The mullein flower, the little yellow flowers that grows on the top of the stalk, they are good for ear infections. If you will take the flowers, and I don't ever wash a flower. I will wash the leaves, but I don't wash a flower. I will just put them on a paper towel and let the little critters crawl out, give them a chance to escape, and then I'll steep it in olive oil, and a good olive oil. Spend some money, because the extraction process on cheap olive oil, it loses a lot of good medicinal properties. So get a good olive oil, and let that steep for 4 to 6 weeks, and you can take a drop of it and put it in except it works for everything but swimmer's ear. It won't work for that. But if your child or you truly have an ear infection, that will soothe and it will heal the infection topically. It will stop your ear from hurting, and it will fix the infection. I have even seen that I read a study where that actually worked better than amoxicillin for an ear infection. It healed it quicker. And everything is, as soon as you see your child pulling or they say, my ear hurts, start immediately. The next one we're going to is one of Addie's favorites, plantain. This is for, the Native Americans call this white man's foot, because everywhere the white man came and walked and made trails, this came up. It likes living in bad soil, places where it's been disturbed, on roadsides, everywhere. There's no place that I have ever walked across that has not had some plantain in it. I do not have that. I do not. They're round leaves, super easy to identify. I almost guarantee you got some right out here. We'll go look after this is over. Anti-inflammatory. So if you put it on your skin, you got to cut. You can put it on cuts too. But I keep it at my house because my grandkids get eaten up by mosquitoes, and they're feral. So I keep it at my house because you put that on there and it is going to stop itching. And it works for anything itchy. If you get, I've even heard that somebody called me one time, wanted a jar of it because it was the only thing that helped her husband with turkey mites. They were driving themselves crazy, itching, and was dipping in the thing and getting out the handful. They put it on it to get some relief, so they requested a jar. Years ago, they have even used this on snake bites to draw out poison, so it has a drawing effect to it. Plantain. You did that with Hannah? For the snake bite? My granddaughter was bit by a snake. And I'm just finding out that they put plantain salve on it. That's a whole nother story. It was a little tiny rat snake, but if you ask her now, it's a rattling snake. And people have used it for toothaches, sore throats, swollen gums, intestinal worms. We got another anti-parasitic here. But I keep it at my house for bee stings. If you get stung, it will draw the poison out. Jax was stung how many times he was stung 5 times last year by wasps at one time. And she took him in the house and just grabbed it up and just slathered him all in it. And within 30 minutes, 5 minutes, you could not tell the kid had been stung. It went from being red and wept in huge circles to gone. Addie has been stung by a hornet this year. It worked. That one took a couple hours. We went camping one time, and Addie got bit by something. and it had raised and was red and angry and hurt, and she was considering going to the ER over this. And I didn't have anything there, but I just started walking around. I found it. I took a couple of leaves, washed it off in the camper. I put it in my mouth. I chewed it up real good, and I got another leaf, and I put what I chewed on her and put the other leaf on it. I said, hold that there. And in no time, it was gone. It was just a spot. Before they could get ready to go to the ER, it was gone. This stuff is powerful. And it is my go-to. I keep this all the time. Oh, I have some. Yes. This is 2 ounces, but it doesn't take much. So I'm going to pass this around and let you sniff it. Put it on you. I've got a little peppermint in there too. It is also soothing. Helps with discomfort. And plantain has also been used for autoimmune diseases and leaky guts. So it's got a lot of things that it's good for. Yes. You'll be in big trouble if you bring Roundup to my yard. I mean, since we stopped spraying the fence row, I mean, Wade's like, well, it's kind of one less thing I got to do. So, okay, the next thing we're going to go over is white pine needle. And this is, y'all can grab this and pass it around. This is the white pine. And the way you're going to know, if you pull off one little cluster, it just occurred to me the other day that not everybody knows trees. If you pull these apart, one little cluster has 5 needles. Not all pine trees have exactly 5 needles, but the white pine has got exactly 5. That's how you know that you've got a white pine and you can harvest from it. And then I have cedar up here. Isn't it interesting that the things that are good for cold and flu season stay green all year in the winter? That God let that medicine all year just stands out. Oh, that's green. It's medicinal. White pine needle is also really good for your blood, your respiratory system, soothing your airways. You can put this and chop it up real small and simmer it down on the stove, strain it off, and put some honey in it. You've got an excellent cough syrup. It is so good. Tasting this, it will boost your immune system, kind of like the echinacea does. It'll boost your immune system, and it helps with red blood cell production. So it'll boost if you know somebody that's a little anemic, white pine needle will help boost them up. Okay, here's the thing. It contains a compound called ceramine that may help restore your RNA and your DNA by preventing the shedding of spike proteins. It is a boost red blood cells production. It's a blood cleanser. It will restore you if you follow a proper protocol, which we're going to get to later. That contains shikimic acid, which is the precursor to the active ingredient in Tamiflu, making great for flu with no side effects. So, we were taking the white pine needle when we had the flu. As with anything, too much of a good thing is bad. It can irritate the lining of your stomach. It can irritate your mouth. I mean, they're sticky. So you want to keep that. You only want the greens. You only want the needles, not the wood, because it's too strong. We did our echinacea, didn't we? Okay, there are echinacea flowers on your table. This is the one that you're going to want to use the petal. You can use the roots, but until mine get real prolific, I'm leaving my roots alone, letting them grow. You want to use the petals from the flowers, the stems, and the leaves. The seed pod, as you can feel that, it's really pokey. And when you grind, they are hard. If you wait till you dry those stems up to cut them, you need something industrial. Scissors are not going to do it. So it's best to chop them up, the stems up really small before they dry out. Don't even fool with the seed pod because it will tear. You're cutting, I've got a chopper. It will tear them up. Ask me how I know. So just the stems, leaves, and the petals is all you're going to use off that. We're going to skip. Is the plain salve next on yours? Oh, okay. So we're going to skip. The next one is going to be cedar. Y'all got it? Okay. This I don't sell because it has too many precautions. But it is a powerful medicine. It can cause burning in your stomach, convulsions, vomiting, and coma if you use it in excess. That's how powerful it is. So you have to use it in small doses. Yes, you can drink a cup of tea a day. You're not going to want to drink it all day long. But this is your fever reducer. When Addie was living with me and Jackson was in his little car seat and she went and picked him up from his dad's, she had never actually touched him. She had gotten and put him in the car, brought him in the house. I got him out of the car seat, and as soon as his little body touched me, I felt the heat. I skipped a spot. All day long, I was at my house by myself, praying in the Spirit. And I kept hearing cedar. And I was like, I don't know why I would need cedar. So I kept praying, and I kept walking around the house, and I was like, okay, fine. So I went out, and I clipped some cedar. I prayed over it. I brought it back in the house, and I put it in a vase. Then Jax comes home. I feel the heat coming off him. I said, this baby has a fever. So we took his temperature. It was like 102, 104. Okay. So I was like, thank you, Lord. I went and took that cedar off the counter that I had in a jar, and I put it on the stove, and I boiled it in a big pot of water. And then when I let it simmer for a while, and then I put it in his bathtub, in his bath water. She just kind of let him play in it. This will break a fever. His fever broke, and it never came back. We don't know what it was, but the cedar was there. We used it. It broke the fever, never came back. Immediately. It can help with bronchitis, reduce inflammation in your chest, pneumonia, the flu, all the things. Breathing the steam from it. You can simmer it on the stove and breathe the steam. Can reduce the inflammation in your lungs. It's antispasmodic, and if you can make a salve out of this, and it'll help aches and pains if you rub it on your joints. So most everybody, I guarantee you, if you left here, drove in any direction within 5 miles, you're going to find a cedar tree. And I really don't think you'll have to go that far to find a cedar tree. And I brought some just in case. this is the same tree. These are both cedar. This is a female, and this is a male. And this time of year, they have the berries. And I didn't tell you this, but they're really good for arthritis. But there again, you have to be very, very, very careful. They are good in small doses. Don't do too much of a good thing. If it weren't for, I use this faithfully for my family, but I won't sell it. Because when it leaves my hand, I don't know. I took some fellas, some tinctures that were having trouble with long COVID. And I said, take a dropper full a day, twice a day, for the next week, and we'll meet back here and see how much you got left and see how it worked. One of the guys, when I said, how did it go? He said, well, I took a drop a day, and at the end of the week, I just drank the rest of it. I said, you don't do that. But luckily, it wasn't anything that has a lot of side effects. But you don't want to have too much of a good thing. I was like, no, that's not what you do. So that's the biggest reason that I won't do cedar. But I'm doing it for my family. Now let's go over the next page. And this is going to, if this doesn't suit you, chew the meat, spit out the bone. Because I'm not being woo-woo. Or whatever you want to call it. We're going to talk about the smoke. Sage, if you burn sage, the sage smoke is antibacterial and antiviral, and the smoke, breathing in the smoke, may improve your sleep quality, reduce stress, and improve your mood. Now, I kept one of the girls' kids from the vape shop for a few hours because their shifts, mom and dad's shifts, they needed somebody just a few hours in between. In those couple hours, she spiked 103 fever and puked all over everything. So I called mom and I was like, I was okay with a little bit of fever and I'm okay with a little vomiting. She wants her mama. You got to come get her. So as soon as she walks out the door, I clean up everything. And the first thing I did, because I am not touching Lysol, I put the sage and I was pushing it. I was like, kill the germs, kill the germs, kill the germs, kill the germs. And I sprayed with essential oils and my thing. I sprayed all the surfaces, everywhere they had been, the toys, the doorknobs, everything. And then I tried to kill the smoke in the air with the smoke. Now, mullein smoke will reduce airborne bacteria for 24 hours. So, I think it was 2021. COVID was really bad. The hospitals was full. I know that it was full because my dad was going every week to get blood transfusion because he had leukemia. And so one of my friends, I could feel the judgment. But I had sage in a bowl and I had mullein in a bowl, and I was burning it before and after my shift, trying to clear the air, kill the germs in the air. And he's like, I see you're burning sage. And I was like, no, it's not what you think. I'm killing germs, trying to do it naturally. No, this is different. Am I walking around the house with a sage stick thinking that I'm going to get rid of the demon bad spirits? No. But when a kid comes and pukes all over my house, yeah, I'm going to burn it. Rosemary smoke. Rosemary is one of my favorite things. The smoke from rosemary may improve alertness, improve your mood, your memory, and boost your immune system and help with stress. And I can kind of see that because the smell of rosemary just makes me happy. That's I love to smell it. When I walk by it, I'll just run my hands across it and then smell my hands. Cedar, too, can kill 94% of airborne bacteria within an hour. Now, I've never really burned that. I have thrown, what does they say, rosemary in your fire? Or is it rosemary or is it sage in the fire pit? That sage gets rid of skeeters? Sage. I've done that, but not this. Eucalyptus smoke can help with relaxation, stress relief, and mental clarity. And it also helps with respiratory issues. So you can attack things from multiple different directions if you take a cedar bath and then you burn the cedar and breathe it in. You can attack it from multiple different directions is what I'm getting at. Yes, don't just go burn anything. No, don't use eucalyptus around cats or babies. Some of these things can be toxic. So you have to be careful and do your research. Yes, you got to do the research. The next thing is the factory reset on the list. Yeah, it was dead on the ground. It had blown out of the tree. Mm-hmm. To help kill the airborne germs. And two, some of the essential oils, if you've got small children and babies, you're not wanting to spray that. Yeah, eucalyptus and peppermint around children, especially. So when you go to spraying all these things, it can actually be harmful because they are so strong. So it's not like you want to smoke your whole house out. You just want to waft it in the air to kill the germs. Okay. In the factory reset that I have white pine needle, boost red blood cells, the mullins. I put burdock root in it. It's a blood purifier. It is stimulating the release of waste production on a cellular level. So it encourages your cells to release the toxins. And then dandelion is a good detoxifier for your liver, your kidneys, and it also is a diuretic. It'll make you flush it on out. So all of these herbs together will cleanse your gutter system. When we were going to Tennessee to take supplies for the flood victims from Hurricane Helene, we met a lady there named Tammy Grayson. Her husband could not walk, had Epstein-Barr. And I started messaging her, and I was like, has he had? And it turns out he had long COVID that he'd like to have never gotten rid of. and had never really fully recovered from it. And I was like, that is one of the things that makes you have Epstein-Barr. I sent her a protocol, and it worked. He's back to work. He is back to work, and I need to get in touch with her again because I need to send her another one. He needs to do it. It's been about 4 months. He needs to do another one just to be sure to keep everything cleansed. Yes. Mm-hmm. Dandelion is pretty bitter. So you could do a tea, but I'd much rather just take it in a tincture and be done. Put it in some juice. Yes, that's pretty bitter. Um, but it will help. It will help your numbers. And get back with me. I've just heard 2 more things that helps with that, and they're herbal. They were recommended by a doctor, and they're working. The liver numbers have come down dramatically by using these, but I'll have to look up and see what those are because I don't raise them. Let's skip over to, you don't, okay, you don't have these. Okay, so now I'm going to put together a system that we all need, but especially if you have a chronic illness. If you've got a chronic illness, are you going to be able to do this one time and it be gone? No. If you have long-term gut issues or whatever the issues is, if you're going to be able to do this for a month and it miraculous, no. It's going to take some work. And you're going to have a revolving protocol. But like I said, you can't continually take these things all the time. It needs to be done in rotation. Now, I want to go over an anti-parasitic protocol. And honestly, we all need to do this twice a year. But more often if you have a chronic illness or a chronic condition. I read not a few months ago that during the full moon, parasites are most active. So then I was thinking, my first thing was, they say that Alzheimer's patients get worse during the full moon. That children act worse at school during the full moon. It affects people. And then I was realized that the moon pulls the tides. We're made up of like 70% water. So if the moon is pulling the water in our body and disrupting them, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. So, beginning at a full moon, we're going to start a pathway detox. Doesn't have to be mine, but you're going to want to do a pathway detox. Your liver, your kidneys, your lymphatic system, your blood, the whole 9 yards. Can you just take the droppers full or some pills and clean out your lymphatic system? No, you got to get it moving. You need to bounce. I have a shaker plate at home. You stand on it and it shakes your whole body, but it encourages your lymphatic system to drain. You can also do what they call lymphatic brushing. Is all of your lymphatic systems pretty much is real close to the surface of your skin. So if you'll start with your arms, with your neck, with your legs, and brush and push everything towards your kidneys, everything towards the middle, so they will drain. So it will drain them out. It will help. In addition to something that's going to make it drain and detoxify it. See, the thing is that if you don't clear out your gutter system first, you go killing things, and it's got heavy metals and sludge in your lymphatic system, it's going to get stuck on there and make it worse. You could be worse shape than you are when you started. So you got to prepare your body for it, and get the pathways cleaned out. You want to eat clean. You want to eat as many crunchy fruits and vegetables raw that you possibly can, and you need to stay hydrated. Okay. 2 days before, you're going to do that until the next full moon. You're going to detox your pathways for a full, almost month. 2 days before the full moon, you're going to go anti-parasitic. Start your anti-parasitic. But even then, you cannot just do the anti-parasitic. You do your anti-parasitic at night, and then you kill things. And you don't want it to get stuck in your body, in your liver, in your kidneys, in your lymphatic system. So then the morning, you're going to put a binder with it. Because it's like a little magnet. It's little absorbers. It will absorb anything that you kill so that you can flush it on out. And then you're going to do that in the morning, and then you're going to replace your minerals in the afternoon. I have some samples, some examples. Activated charcoal is a binder. It's like microscopic sticky. Viruses will stick to it and flush it out. Again, you don't want too much of a good thing. But you would do your anti-parasitic at night, and you could do this in the morning. You could use diatomaceous earth. I got this in Southern States. You got it too? And then I wondered how that worked. And you can get good information if you know what to ask. So I asked Google, how does diatomaceous earth kill worms on plants? It suffocates them. It is crushed up shells, and although it just looks like a fine powder to us, the edges of it are really sharp. And you should not breathe it because they're so sharp, because it gets stuck in your lungs and it will scratch your lungs. So you want to wear a mask or be in a well-ventilated area when you fool with the diatomaceous earth. So it will stick. It's sticky, and it will stick to anything that is not supposed to be there. Anything that you have killed. Then bentonite clay is also another one. Same kind of thing. It's okay, it's good, but you don't want to breathe it. It acts as a binder too. It binds to things. Both of these, all of these, this is the one thing I never hear taught. In addition to being a binder to that, it will also pull heavy metals out. So if you've got a lot of heavy metals in your body, it will bind to the heavy metals, and you can flush those out of your system. But it will also pull the minerals out of your body, leaving you deficient in minerals. So in the afternoon, you're going to replace the minerals. So at night, you're going to do the anti-parasitic. In the morning, you're going to take a binder, and then the afternoon, you're going to make sure that you get plenty of salt. You don't want to take your binder and the anti-parasitic at the same time because they're fighting each other. You want to attack, you want to bind, and then you want to restore. Is this making sense? Okay. And then you're going to do that for 5 days total. And then after that, you're going to do a week of white pine needle to restore the RNA, DNA, and build your blood back up. You're going to do that for a week. Then, if you want to start over, you can start over from that day doing the pathway detox until the next full moon. 2 days before the full moon and 3 days after. Attack them. Why not attack them when they're being active? And there's another thing that I've seen a lot of people taking a popular anti-parasitic, and I've heard several people say, I just take a little bit every day. Don't do that. You're building up their tolerance to an anti-parasitic. They're becoming immune. So when you hit them, you want to hit them hard and then leave it alone and then rebuild your body, restore your body. Flush them out and restore your body, then hit them hard again later. But don't do a little of whatever you do a little every day. It's not good for you. You need to have a proper protocol. That would be good because that's fresh nuts and fruits. And I'll tell you, we were talking about something completely different. My sister and I, she had horses a long time ago. This always stuck with me, and I do not know why. Well, now I do. She had horses in the pasture, and she had the most beautiful, green, lush, tall pasture all winter long. But she said, I still have to give them hay. And I was like, why are you giving them hay? They don't need hay. They have all this. It's lush, it's beautiful, and green. She said the hay scrapes their guts, and it keeps them healthy. They need their guts scraped down to keep them healthy. So that is the reason why you want the crunchy, you want the nuts, you want the raw, you want the fresh. Because as you're doing this, it's not going to stick to the sidewalls of your intestines. It's going to help scrape your gut and push it on through. So, yes, that would be good. No lasagnas and pizzas and cheeseburgers. Oh, one more thing. If your deodorant's not working, chances are your armpits are full of aluminum, and you need to put a bentonite clay. Oh, do not stir bentonite clay with anything metal. It will eat it. It will disintegrate it. Use plastic. Stir it up with apple cider vinegar, equal parts, and put it on your armpits. Put it on the bottoms of your feet. It will pull heavy metals out of your armpits. It will pull it out of the bottoms of your feet. Guess where most women get breast cancer if they get breast cancer? Closest to the armpit. In that quarter, if you were to draw a bullseye, it would be in the upper quarter next to that armpit. Most of them are in that. And I have heard plenty of people that say they have gone to the doctor, gone to an oncologist with breast cancer, and the first thing they say is stop using deodorant, stop baking in aluminum pans, throw everything in your house away except for a cast iron and glass, stainless steel. That's the first protocol they tell them. And it makes sense. So, for your health, it is good to do this under your armpit and the bottoms of your feet. Yeah, probably once a week, probably 4 times a year. But the little telltale sign is if you're constantly having to change deodorants, that's it. Oh, yeah, if you have heavy breakouts, you can do a face mask with it to pull the impurities out of your face, and it'll pull. Precaution, it'll probably get worse before it gets better, but it will pull the impurities out of your skin and eventually make your cleansed skin clearer than ever. Yes, ma'am. Yes, diatomaceous earth. Don't just go get it. Make sure you get food grade diatomaceous earth. Southern States. You can get it at Southern States. You can get it at Tractor Supply. I think you can get it at Walmart. I don't know if they have food grade at Walmart. I know Southern States has got food grade diatomaceous earth. And I think they're getting used to people like me coming in because they just... I never said. It's a pretty big bag. I got the smallest one they had. But it will last me for the rest of my life. And yours too. Oh, activated charcoal. If anybody tells me at the vape shop or whatever, they have activated charcoal at the vape shop at all times. If anybody in anybody's house gets a stomach virus, everybody's getting activated charcoal. Because it will pull that virus out of your system. This is mineral salt. I have had Redmond's. I have had, let's just face it, I have spent a lot of money on salt. I have tried lots of them, and this is my favorite so far. I like the texture. It's a wet salt. It's very finely ground. Redmond was too grainy, and I almost feel like it had rocks in it. I felt it was going to break my teeth. But this has been very good. I love the flavor of it. I love the flavor of it. It's saltier than salt, I think. Some of the pink Himalayan salt is not as salty as regular table salt, but I feel this is saltier. But it has 92 trace minerals in it. Just put it in your water. Put in your water if you're being outside and you're sweating. And that is another thing, too. I kept hearing when we had the flu, I stayed hydrated. Wade did not. And he started complaining, got it with a splitting headache, and it would not go away. So I said, let me deal with this. So I made him a glass of water. I put a good dose of this in there, stirred it up, got it cold. I said, drink that. And he said, it's salty. I don't care. Drink it. 30 minutes later, his headache was gone and never come back. Yes, don't get it to where you actually taste the salt. There is a point in there that it tastes good. A pinch. But his headache was real bad, so I dosed him up good. He don't even argue with me anymore. I hand him things, he just takes it. Now this is the thing that I am most excited about, is talking about the water. Teresa taught me, we both have water filters at home, kitchen pitchers. She has a Zero that has a tester. She got me a tester. I don't think I did. We filter our water, but then the Lord was still impressing upon me that it was dead. It was still just dead water. This is dead. We've gotten so accustomed to it, we don't know our water is dead. Wish we drank it so long. And everybody says, hydrate, 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 hydrate. It's more than hydration. It's not fixing anything. So, I heard about this thing called structured water, and when I first saw structured water that had been in the sun, and there's other things you can do, the sun makes sense to me. I thought, no, that's woo-woo. I don't want nothing to do with that. So I walked away. Well, it kept coming back, and I was like, Lord, you are going to have to give me some confirmation. You're going to have to explain this to me. So, then he started explaining to me about the sun. Well, the sun is a natural disinfectant. The sun, if you've got a pool, has anybody got a pool? On these hot, sunny days, you can't get chlorine in it because the sun pulls it out. So the sun is going to pull chlorine out of your water when you leave it in the sun all day. The sun is a solar charger, right? So if it charges batteries, are we not a battery? We're energy. We need energy. We need fuel. So if we charge this, if this soaks up the sun, does it charge me? Does it? So then I was like, okay, I need more. I'm not satisfied. So then I hit up the Google again. The UV light kills bacteria, viruses, fungus, and breaks down RNA and DNA of microorganisms. When your grandma hung her clothes on the line, she put her whites in the sun and her colors in the shade because it made her white, kept her whites white. It purified it. It disinfected it. Then I got to, what does the sun do to water? The reason why, and it was so simple, and I felt a little stupid after I actually read the science. It changes the molecular structure, the molecular shape of water molecules into something like a hexagon. Don't ask me what shape they are in before because I don't know. It changes into a hexagon, and that hexagon shape is more bioavailable and easy to absorb into our system in that shape than it was before. Does that make sense? So that makes sense to me. Okay, it's changed the structure of the molecule. That's the reason why they're calling it structured water. And then they said it just tastes better. And then I was like, duh. When I make sun tea tastes better than it does when I make it in the house on the stove and I just boil it. It tastes better. It's because the structure of the molecule in the water was changed. It's because it's better for you. We taste that the water in the tea is good. Okay. So you put this in the sun all day, it's changed structure, but you bring it in the house and put it in a plastic water, you're going to kill it. It's going to kill it. Yeah, don't put a lid on your, I use half-gallon jug to make my sun tea. I make sun tea every day because of this. And I wasn't letting the bad stuff escape because I was putting a lid on it and cranking it down. But I started putting a cloth and the ring on there. That way the bad things and the chlorine can still escape. But still then, okay, the structure's right, the molecule's right, it tastes better. Okay, now what? And the Lord said, literally, I was walking across my house, and he said, go to 2 Kings chapter 2. And I was like, we've done read that. We've read that multiple times. And he kept saying it. I was like, okay. So I went back and read it again. And this was Elisha's first miracle. He went to the village where the water was bitter. And he said, get me a bowl of salt. And the bowl of salt made the water sweet. So we've got the right structure. The molecules are in the right shape. Not just needs to be living. It needs to be sweet. So then we put some good mineralized salt to replace the minerals in our body. And that brings it back to life a little bit. But it's still not done. Then the Lord impressed me while I was stirring my tea, and I'm thinking about all of this. Wait a minute. Do y'all understand ponds in the summertime in Kentucky when they turn over? You ever heard of a pond turning over? Okay. In the summertime, the pond is stagnant, and the sun has drawn all the oxygen out, all the stuff out, and the fish start turning belly up because they've got no oxygen in it. They say that's when the pond turns over. So what we always did was we went and got a pump, and we started pumping, filtering the water, and we would put a board out and make it splash. The water was moving, and it put oxygen back into the water, and then the fish went back to swimming. So then the Lord reminded me at the pool at Bethesda, when it was time for the healing, the angel stirred that water. So as I'm stirring my tea, and I'm like, okay, we got the right structure. We've put minerals back in there, and now we're going to make it living and put oxygen back in it. And we're not going to put it in glass. I had to get out my granny's glass pitcher and put away the plastic ones, because then that'll kill what you just created. But if you want a healing, and I'm not saying you have to do this for everything you drink, but at some point during the day, this would be good for your body to take in the charging, the minerals, the right shape, and the oxygen. Oxygenated, mineralized, living water. I thought that was great. Because I kept telling the Lord, I've been telling him for months, you're going to have to prove this. You're going to have to show me. I need some science, and I need some scriptures. And he has done it faithfully. But when he took me to 2 Kings chapter 2, and I read that about the minerals in making the water sweet by pouring the salt in there, and I looked up and I was like, okay, I'll keep researching. I'll keep going. You've cracked the door open. I will keep digging. And let's see them. Oh, this is what I soak my tinctures in. I either do an alcohol or a vegetable glycerin. This is vegetable glycerin. You're going to want to mix the vegetable glycerin, 3 parts vegetable glycerin, we call it VG, to 1 part water. Stir that up and then pour it over your herb. Either one, you're going to put your chopped herbs in there, and you're going to let them sit for a minimum of 6 to 8 weeks. Can it go longer? I have had some setting for a year. The longer, the stronger. The downside, the difference is VG is not as potent. It doesn't have pull out as many medicinal properties as the alcohol. The benefits to this is it's much more palatable to kids and to people that are just absolutely not going to touch a drop of alcohol, even though it's 1 milliliter. So that makes it a good choice for them. The downside to the VG is that it has a shelf life. This is 80 proof. It ain't never going to get. It's never going to ruin. It's never going to ruin. It'll be good 10 years from now. Whatever medicine you make in there, it might evaporate down some. It might concentrate and get darker. The color might get darker. It is still potent and it's still good. The vegetable glycerin, you're going to have about a year. And then it can go rancid or start to mold or something like this. I use fresh herbs with both of them. I think fresh are better. I make sometimes things with dried herbs, but I feel I get more out of more medicinal properties out of the fresh herbs, and I like the color better. It looks richer. It tastes richer to me when I make it with fresh herbs. And a lot of this stuff I have learned by just observing. In Jeremiah chapter 1, God asked Jeremiah, tell me what you see. And that's what God does to me. Tell me what you see. And then I ask questions. And then we have talks, and I do research. And I argue with him sometimes. And that's okay. You're going to have to prove it. But he has repeatedly, over and over. And I'm thankful. Does anybody have any questions? Oh, yeah. Don't get expensive. Don't get the top shelf alcohol. It does the same thing. And who cares how it tastes? It's all bad. It's all bad. Just get the cheap stuff. As long as it's a minimum of 80 proof, run with it. There's no need in spending a lot of money on this, because it's going to do the same job. But it does need to be vodka. I've done some with brandy that I then added honey to and made like a cough syrup. But that was when I first started, and I pretty much just do this now. I do a water decoction and mix with honey instead of the long thing if I need something quick. A syrup. And that's all I have for you today. And I do have mullein in the alcohol tincture, and I have mullein in the VG tincture if you want to just put a couple of drops on your tongue just to see what they taste like. So you can taste the difference. The VG is sweet. So the kids, I don't have a problem with kids taking it. They'll pretty much take anything I give them in the VG.